You're listening to Crystal and Emily on Love Your Shelf, the best librarian podcast in the extensive and highly competitive field of librarian podcasts. Hello.
Hello.
So we're back with another episode of Love Your Shelf. And even though it's been a while since our last episode, I haven't been consuming very much because there's just been a lot of other things going on.
It's been a crazy few weeks. I've been revisiting some old stuff. You and I both had colds, so we were home. We work closely, so Crystal and I end up giving each other most of our sicknesses we've
all the time.
noticed. Yeah. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of kind of just passive watching.
Yeah, and I don't have any plans to change that. But I did read some books, and I started some that I'm not going to finish.
Oh.
So I will tell you about those.
Okay.
And a lot of these are galleys. So I'm not going to, we don't have them yet. Many of them are coming out later in the spring or in the summer.
Okay.
So don't kill me about that. But I did have a nice virtual pile of them that I wanted to get through. And so, so that's what a lot of these are.
This is to look forward to.
To look forward to, yeah. But I want to mention first and foremost the book, and maybe we talked about it last time, but you showed me, and I saw that I put it onto my Goodreads and made some of my friends laugh who follow my Goodreads. They're like, "What is the Squirrel Wife?" And so I have to give you credit for finding this book by Philippa Pierce. It's a children's book.
Yep.
And it's one of the more bonkers things in print that I've ever seen.
So I started here as a shelver, and I was filling in for our shelver who was out that day, taking a walk down memory lane, when I picked up The Squirrel Wife. And I promptly set it aside on my desk because I knew it would be interesting. And it was. It's such a weird original fairy tale published in 1971, which was super appropriate.
Yeah.
Based on the weirdness.
Yeah. So should I give the
go
the
for
synopsis?
It. You'll probably make it shorter than I would.
I don't know. You'll have to correct me if I get something wrong, but it's about a young man who finds a little green person in the forest with it's like been trapped under a tree or something.
The people that in the village where the little boy lives are like afraid of these green people.
Yeah.
They're
the little green men.
The legend of the green men or whatever.
So he finds one and rescues him.
Right.
And so the boy rescues the little green man. And then the little green man gives him a ring and says, this is your reward, for saving me. I'm going to give you this ring, and you're going to put it on a squirrel. And that squirrel is going to be your squirrel wife. And
I think he says, something like you'll, I don't know, get to experience all the good things of the forest with your wife. And he's like, what do you mean? I don't have a wife. He's like, well, find a squirrel and then you will.
Wow. So
silly.
He goes around trying to put this ring on squirrels, which for a squirrel, it's like a bracelet, which is just that detail alone gave me
adorable, first of all.
Yes. And then he finds one that he fancies. I don't know.
Or the first one he could get to.
Yeah. So then the squirrel, through the magic of the ring, turns into a woman.
Yeah.
Who seems to be lovely.
Except I'm sorry. Except for her crazy squirrel eyes. Oh my gosh.
And this is an illustrated book too. So she's got this long red hair because it's like a red squirrel.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like her hair looks like a bushy squirrel tail.
And she has crazy animal eyes. But she's powerful because she knows all the secrets of the forest.
Right. So they know, like, this kind of wood is best for building furniture, and these kind of berries are best for making pie, or whatever.
And these nuts.
It's just all nuts. He's like, okay, listen, I'm tired of nuts.
It tickles me so much.
Oh my gosh.
And so the end of the story comes about when the man,
yeah, a
the
lot
husband,
happens.
It's like actually pretty long book.
It is.
But the man ends up in prison.
Yeah.
He's locked up, and
wrongfully so.
Oh, of course. Yeah. They just trying to keep the
They're just jealous of his squirrel wife.
Yeah, exactly. And so he wants to be freed, but like once the magic has been done, not thinking like that's all he doesn't get more rewards.
Right.
So they can't do any more magic for him.
Right.
But the little green people say that they can take the magic away, like they can take the ring from the squirrel wife and she'll turn into a squirrel, which she'll then be able to break into the jail and free him. But he's like, but now, so she does.
She decides to do that. She's like, I love you. I'm going to make the sacrifice. And he's like, no, I love you. But she does it anyway. And then, I think this is my favorite part. The little green people say, okay, well, we can't redo all this magic, but we can turn the squirrel back into a woman. But she's not going to be a squirrel wife anymore. She's just going to be a regular old lady wife. You know those crazy squirrel eyes you love so much? They're going to be gone. And he's like, oh, no.
Yeah. He's like, I
don't want
just this boring
regular
lady.
hot lady. I
right.
want this crazy squirrel lady.
And so don't they then move to the city because she no longer has knowledge of the forest?
Yeah, once she becomes a full lady, she's like, this is disgusting. Why do we live in the woods? Get me out of here. I'm a city girl now. So they move to the village. The end.
Ooh. So that is a trip.
Such a wild ride.
You can check that book out.
At our very own library.
Yeah. And if anybody has ever read that book or seen it or heard of it, I want to know about it.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to start a book club.
Where we just talk about the squirrel. Okay, so.
I hadn't thought about that in a couple of days. So thanks for.
I can't stop thinking about it.
Oh my gosh. All right. What else you got?
Moving on. I read a book by Lisa Taddeo called Ghost Lover Stories. No squirrels in this one. I know. But it's short stories. And the first one, Ghost Lover, is I always find even though we engage with technology 24/7, whenever it's the feature, particularly social media and stuff like that, when it's a feature of something in a book, to me it feels so somehow remarkable. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so the first story, The Ghost Lover, is about this woman who has a sort of a bad breakup, and then she creates this app where basically she text messages people's partners.
Oh.
So that they don't have to stress out when they're meeting somebody or getting to know somebody, or they they're starting a relationship. She'll send the messages as if that's the other person and woo them or whatever. So she's is the ghost lover, and
interesting.
Yeah, and she becomes super rich and famous because of it. And grows her business, so she's got a whole army of people doing these messages, not just her.
Interesting, yeah.
And it made me feel old because I was like, is that what a relationship is these days?
Right? Oh man, yeah.
And it kind of is, people that are, going on dating sites or whatever, and they've got to message all these people. That's a whole job. And, then you have to wait to see if they're going to respond and how fast are they going to respond.
And I was thinking about that with, because I've probably said even on here before that Nick and I met just in person through friends just before Tinder and all of that kind of blew up. And I was thinking about how I'm such a sensitive person that even, like, I feel like if I didn't match with a person or something, I'd kind of have my feelings hurt. Like, I just feel like it would be I don't know, you'd have to learn how to...
It's definitely
not take it so personally, and that's just so foreign to me. It's just all... I'm 31, but might as well be 81.
Escaped that. Yeah.
I really am. I think I would just be okay with being single.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine it.
Yeah. It's
not
terrible.
For me.
Right.
Yeah.
But, you know, and I don't know why. I guess because I've read a whole generation of books pre-social media.
Yeah.
That whenever it's in a book, I'm kind of like, I feel like even as a writer, I would be hesitant to do that because I think it immediately dates itself.
Yeah, true.
So when you're talking about whatever Tinder or whatever, those things come up and then go, and then
sure.
And you know, is this book going to have lasting value because it's so contemporary at the time? And that's it's also a new thing because I didn't feel like that about computers or you know, just anything in general. Things were changing. In fact, I was super into any kind of like technology kind of literature, but now it just seems it's almost like it's already passé once it's in print.
I like there are even on television sometimes I'm super aware, like, oh my gosh, we're going to watch this in 10 years and be making fun of that phone and how we were doing this. Because I think there is a way to kind of tone that down, like make it modern. Like one of the shows I've been rewatching is Grace and Frankie, which is so delightful.
It's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, it's so brilliant. So I really love it.
Yeah.
And they have them, you know, talking on the phone and occasionally texting, but it's not much more than that. You know, I feel like you see in a lot of TV and movies, people stop by your house when in real life they would send a text message or whatever. Right. But they still do that on Grace and Frankie, and I appreciate it because, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, like if a youngish person watches You've Got Mail, what are they going to think about that?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They're going to not understand anything that's going on.
What is
with
that
all the
crazy
sound?
noise?
Yes.
I know. What are they doing? Are they hurting their computer?
Exactly. It does sound like it.
Just logging on to the interweb.
Just normal, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a digression from the book because the book is good.
Sure.
It's just,
but that is
it just made me think about it.
Yeah, interesting point. I've thought about it before.
Yeah.
Books, movies,
Yeah. Yeah, like The Matrix.
Yeah.
I mean, 23 years ago is when the first one came out. Things have changed.
Yep.
Quite a bit.
Yep.
Anyway, so, but I do recommend it. Good short stories.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
And not always. I'm like, short stories are I love like to have like little bits of things like that, but it's really hard. Short stories, I think, are harder than novels.
I agree.
And then I read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. And the only other thing that I have read of hers and I really liked, it was several years ago, The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. And which is great. I would highly recommend that. But this is a new one that's coming out soon about these two childhood friends who are estranged from each other, and then they meet back up when they're adults, and they start creating video games.
Cool. And
so I like that. Like, again, it's technology, but I feel like it's more about like virtual stuff than like the specific kind of technology that you're using. So
yeah.
But again, I mean, I don't think you can avoid it entirely. You can't just like, even in, like you're saying, in Grace and Frankie, they don't avoid that entirely so that it doesn't make any sense. But that's not what it's about.
Definitely.
So, yeah. But it's a love story.
Okay.
And
Video game love story.
Yeah. And also, I really like video games. I don't play them like I used to, but that's goes for pretty much everything that I used to do. I don't do it as much as I did. But like games as an art form, I think is really fascinating. There's some amazing ones out there.
Gosh.
And yeah. The only thing that keeps me from doing it is because I'm just not very good at it. And I hate like having to do the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, I'm not patient enough to get good at it. Yeah.
So if there's somebody, I'll watch somebody play a game.
Yeah.
But not gonna try to do it.
No, same.
But I do recommend that book. It's coming out soon, and then we'll get into the ones that I'll wait for a second to get into the ones that I don't recommend. And mention a couple of others that I do. Blake Couch has a new book coming out called Upgrade. And he has written several other books that I've really liked, including the series Wayward Pines, which created which was the TV show that came out of that. And then he wrote Recursion and Dark Matter. And this one, the main character is involved in an explosion, and then he wakes up in the hospital, and it's like this. He super heals, like he heals, and then begins to upgrade. So his like memory gets better, and it's like his mind is expanding, and So it's another technological one, but it's a fantasy kind of
cool.
Yeah, it's sci-fi fantasy
cool.
kind of thing. And it's genetic engineering, and anyway, I do always like Blake Couch. It's not it's still a little bit genre fiction-y. It's not I don't even usually make this distinction. It's not high art, but it's definitely worth reading.
Cool.
It's a quick read that's keeps you into it.
That doesn't turn me off.
No.
In fact, that turns me on to
right.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can get through this in an evening
excellent.
or two.
Yeah.
And then there is another one that I haven't finished, but by Kirsten White, and it's called Hide. And I was asking you a minute ago, because there was a TV show recently called Panic about this competition that like turns deadly, basically. And so this book is about this abandoned amusement park, and they have a challenge. Yeah.
Ooh.
So you have to spend a week in this abandoned amusement park without getting caught.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Caught by the police?
Caught.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And so people are, who play in the game, I think it's like 14 people, they start disappearing. And so the main character has to make it out.
Cool.
And she has a history where she's like the last one surviving her family. So she has
final
backstory.
Girl?
It's getting
technically a final girl. Okay.
So I'm curious. I'm gonna see how it goes, but
neat.
It's very promising. Like just the beginning of it. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. And let's see. Okay, so the ones that I don't recommend, and I'm gonna have to apologize to my dear friend Amy, but she gave me a copy of a book called The Gargoyle by Andrew Davidson, and she's like, I love this book.
I think I was there for that,
Yeah, and I started it, and I couldn't finish it because I'm not squeamish about many things, but the book begins in such a squeamish way that I just couldn't, I didn't want to read it.
Told me about
that.
Okay.
I mean, it's not spoiling anything because it literally happens in the first chapter that the main character is in a car accident.
Yes.
And he is burned severely all over his body. And I just have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And it's well written. It's very evocative.
Too well.
Yes. It describes it in great detail. And I just...
I hate
that. I got the ick. And I had to
I hate
get out of there.
And I'll usually try to push through something like that. even though I can feel that I'm starting to like feel weird. Yeah.
Yeah, usually I can. And I may, skip ahead and see if I can jump into it later.
Yeah.
But
I'm the queen of that, so I know
Skipping
what
ahead,
you mean.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or
so
skipping
we'll see.
squeamish stuff.
And she says, she really loves it, so there must be something to it, but not in the mood right now. Then she also recommended another one. I should know better by now. She's obviously like trying to do something to me. But Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Basterica and is another one. And I've also seen it recommended a lot on social media. But recommended as like a yikes, like people that really like that kind of thing. So it's horror.
Okay.
And yeah, I think you can extrapolate what it might be about based on the title.
Okay. Cool.
And we'll leave it at that.
Cool.
I don't want to go into it. But, yeah, it's getting a lot of rave reviews, but people are also saying like, Yowza.
Yeah. Yowza. Direct quote. Exactly. From a review.
I'm going to write that review.
Just yowza, period.
Period.
Not even exclamation point.
No. And then I wanted to like it, but I was really curious to see what it would be like. But a new book by Norman Reedus, who plays Daryl on The Walking Dead.
Oh.
Yeah. He wrote a novel.
Oh.
Called The Ravaged.
Uh-huh.
Ooh. Yeah.
Sorry, Daryl.
I know, man. I've watched a show. There was like a travel show that he was on.
Yeah.
That was about him like riding a motorcycle.
Oh yeah.
He's an interesting guy.
That, yeah.
But yeah. It's about a young man, and he's traveling the country and he's got demons.
Also, he's got how original.
He's got demons, yeah. And he beats up his boss who beats his dog.
Oh well,
it's just a little. I mean, yeah, but
it's a little over the. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's some cheese factor.
It's cheese, yeah, and I didn't
know
what I
like,
wanted, but
this is my fantasy of who I want to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
A dude fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't mean that I mean, you can take it for however you want to mean that.
Right.
But yeah, it was just not my cup of tea. And so we'll leave that.
Not into dude fantasies.
Not into dude fantasy. I mean, I too would love to beat up a guy who beats a dog.
Definitely.
I mean, that's
who
yes.
I wish I was.
Yeah, exactly. Riding around on my motorcycle, beating up dog abusers.
I can see it.
And in the show, he's the one who uses the bow and arrow or whatever. So
yeah.
Also have that strapped on.
Yes, absolutely. Somehow you're Daryl and this actual guy.
Yeah.
At the same time.
And Norman Reedus and the character, and it's all a thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. Moving on.
Okay.
I do want to mention a few things that I've watched.
Okay.
And I know that you have watched some of these as well.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know what I think about it, but I started watching Murderville.
So did we. We watched the first two.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah. So I watched probably maybe the first three.
Okay.
And so it's on Netflix. It's Will Arnett and celebrity guests.
Yes.
And he plays like a goofy, broken down detective, police detective. And every episode he has a new partner. It's the celebrity guest.
Yeah.
And the guests don't have any script. So there's like a loose story.
Yes.
That they just have to act.
Yeah.
They're just off
totally
the cuff.
improvised. Yeah. And you can tell. And honestly, like, those are the parts that cracked me up the most. When you're like, they're clearly like dying laughing right now, or about to, or just finished. Yeah.
Well, I think the first one, or one of the first ones, is Conan O'Brien.
The first one.
And I really wanted to like it. It was kind of a dud.
I kind of felt like, I was like, Conan.
Yeah.
I know you got more than that.
Bring it. Yeah.
I know. And I kind of felt like there were points where he was kind of like
what are we doing?
Yeah, like, what's going on? I don't know, not playing along,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
And
He was not the right person for that job.
Agreed.
But then the one I think I liked the most was Marshawn Lynch.
Was that is he the football player?
Yes.
That was the other one that we watched. He was funny.
He was funny.
I know.
He was quick, and he was like...
He was. There were parts that I was like, dude, this guy's an athlete. Like, good job.
Yeah. No, he was killing it. And it's pretty funny. But also, Will Arnett himself cracks up more than anybody else.
Oh, I know.
So he breaks all the time.
Yeah.
Which, like, in Saturday Night Live and things like that, there were, like, Jimmy Fallon and there were a lot of those people that just laughed the whole time.
And people kind of loved that,
Yeah.
I almost felt like they, were like, make
really,
sure you crack
really
on this
up,
one.
Yeah. And it is. I find that's funny, but I don't know. Something about this is just not.
It's like it needed to be fine-tuned somehow, and I'm not the person with the answer because this is a brand new thing, but yeah.
I liked the idea.
Same.
And some of it was okay, but mostly...
Not enough for me to keep going.
Yeah.
Necessarily.
No Yowza.
No Yowza. Ooh, burn. That's a burn from Crystal.
And then there's another one that we've talked about with Kristen Bell. The woman in the house across the street from the girl in the window.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I have seen the movies and read the books that it's kind of a parody of, but you hadn't.
Well, the only one I've seen is the girl on the train one, and I understand like that. I don't know which it's not
parody.
A genre concept, in a story, I guess.
Yeah, but it was kind of like basically there's a whole. Like almost a genre of that had come out recently of young to middle-aged women who are not believable, not reliable narrators because they have kind of some kind of substance abuse issue and nobody believes them when they say they saw somebody get murdered, and then they almost end up getting murdered themselves.
And they usually see it through some sort of window.
Right. And
train,
so there's
house,
a lot.
Whatever.
Yeah. And so the whole thing, and it's a series, which I thought was also odd.
I know.
That maybe like a 2-hour movie would make sense. But like in these short episodes,
it was
bizarre.
Okay, because at first I didn't know what was going on. I didn't realize it was a parody. Eventually I got to a point where I was like, "There's no way this is real." Or they think this is normal and good. Yeah, but even after I realized what was going on, I was still just kind of like, "This is off." I don't know. It's too much, but also not enough. Yeah. It's like almost too subtle in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's. Things like Scary Movie, or a lot of those like old parody things that would parody like detective stories.
Sure.
There's tons of those.
Yeah.
But like you said, this one doesn't go far enough into the parody.
Yeah.
To really be funny.
Yeah.
It just seems it's kind of like because a lot of these stories that it's supposed to be referring to are almost to that level themselves.
Yeah, because I didn't realize
extreme.
because I saw it before you did or started it before you did, and I was explaining that like one of her things is she's like afraid of the rain, and I was like, "What's that?" And you were like, "Oh, that's like a thing from
right
something
from the agoraphobic lady."
Yeah.
But, that's the woman in the window.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
anyway, did you finish it?
No.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
I probably got.
We'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
But I do like that kind of thing normally.
I know.
So we'll
just
maybe see.
Off the mark a little bit.
Let's see. Oh, and then I watched at least started a series called Midnight Asia. Mm-hmm. It's on Netflix. Mm-hmm. And I like travel shows and I like food shows. And this is a travel food show.
Yeah.
About like late night places all over Asia.
Ooh.
And so that's
cool.
Yeah, it kind of these cultural things but particularly the late night kind of night owl kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting if you're into that kind of thing.
I watched a couple episodes of, is it Ugly Delicious?
Yeah.
I really liked it.
I love Ugly Delicious.
Really liked it. Like, I watched maybe the fried chicken episode and then Crawfish.
That's David Chang.
Yeah. I really liked it.
Yeah, he has some other shows too.
Really?
Anything that David Chang does.
I like him a lot too.
And so then, somehow, I guess because of that, Netflix decided to tell me what I should watch next, which was All of Us Are Dead, which is a Korean series.
Okay, yeah, that one's been advertised
Yeah.
to me, but I haven't watched it.
It was Korean zombies. And
in a
zombies
school.
in a high school.
Yeah.
And it's so over the top that it's almost like slapstick. Just not scary even, just so much. I don't know. It's hard. I feel like there must be something to compare it to, but it was just wild. And it wasn't also smart or interesting, so I just didn't keep up with it. But it does reference another film that I keep hearing about all the time called Train to Busan, which is a Korean zombie film from 6 or 7 years ago. And so I started that, and I didn't get into it. I don't know. Sometimes I'm real bad about series that I will put them on while I'm doing other things.
Yeah.
And so if it's something that has subtitles or anything like that.
No, you have to obviously have your attention.
So I will watch that because that one is highly recommended.
Yeah.
And, kind of informed this other series, which I think took it out of it.
Okay.
Just went crazy with it. But super ultra violent if that's your jam. And then there's a couple of others. There's a super duper weird one. And I can't remember if we've talked about it, but it's on Apple Plus, and it's called Severance.
Hold on. What's it about?
It is about Adam Scott plays the main character, and Patricia Arquette is one of the characters as well.
Not.
And essentially, it's about this company, like a big kind of faceless international, company, and the employees, or at least the ones that you meet at the beginning. And there's only a few episodes, so I've only seen like 2. Adam Scott is one of them. That when they go into work, they have this severance drug that makes them forget their lives at home. Oh. So while they're at work, they only know and think about work. Then when they go home, they forget everything they know about work. And so it's like these 2 different
that's
lives.
Crazy.
Yeah. And it's kind of like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but without any kind of whimsy.
Okay.
It's it's kind of dark. Well, I wouldn't say without any kind of whimsy. It's pretty dark, but there are funny things that happen. John Turturro is another one of the characters. He's always great.
He is always great.
And so basically things kind of glitch and something happens and they start questioning, what's happening to them.
Oh.
And they find out, like one of them escapes and goes from one of the employees, I think like the supervisor or whatever, quits or stops coming to work, and they don't know why. But then he's waiting at the home of one of the other employees and tells him, this is what's happening to us, know. And so they start to investigate it. And,
cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm interested.
Yeah. It's very, very quirky.
Yeah.
And really drab colors, and the rooms are really strange. It's like the office space that they're in, it's like a labyrinth for one thing, with all these doors that are not marked or anything. And the room that there's like a team of 4, and they sit in this little pod of computers that face each other, but then it's this huge room all around them, and all they do all day is there's sea of numbers is on the screen, and they circle some of them and drag them into a little trash can thing.
Oh my
that's
goodness.
all they do.
And
anyway.
that's all they can think about because
they don't have anything else.
Ugh.
So I'm very intrigued by it.
Yeah, me too.
And then the last one I want to mention is on Netflix, and everybody's talking about it, but it's Inventing Anna.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah.
I started watching something else I totally forgot about until just now, so I'll
Okay, we'll have to, we'll revisit that. But
how is it? I want to watch it.
I think that the story is intriguing. Mm-hmm. It's fascinating, actually. And I wanted to know, because I read about this person.
I had never heard of it.
Months ago.
Nick had, yeah.
And so, well, several years ago, I think. But Anna Delvey, or Anna, also known as Anna Sorokin, was a con artist, basically. But she, at the age of like 25, 26, infiltrates, for lack of a better word, New York high society, and like convinces all these people that she's an heiress, and ends up going to prison or being arrested for fraud, and for defrauding all of these people, because she wants to create this social club called the Anna Delvey Foundation.
What?
And she convinces some of the most high-powered attorneys and financial organizations to back her. But then things kind of start to fall apart because she's not an heiress. She doesn't have any money. And she, in order to keep up this lifestyle, she ends up having to, or not having to, but she ends up stealing from her friends and from, all these other people. And so I wanted to know, what is really her backstory?
Yeah.
But it's like 10 episodes. It's a series.
Yeah.
And by 6 or 7, I don't like the way that the series is done. It's a Shonda Rhimes creation, and it kind of, especially toward those middle episodes, it is kind of the structure is very much like plain old like drama television, like Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
And and there's some real goofy stuff. And they say that some of it is fictitious, so it's not like a documentary.
Yeah, like y'all didn't necessarily need to even add this in.
It doesn't add anything to it to me, but it gets cheesy. And I don't know that I'll even watch the last couple of episodes, but I don't know. The story itself, I would read a book about it, or no, I would read a magazine article about it.
Yeah.
And I would want to know about it.
A magazine article. Because I like that stuff is so fascinating to me. Like just con artists like that, which actually kind of goes into what I was going to bring up. Well, because first of all, remember the story of the guy who like convinced all these people that he was a Rockefeller?
Yeah.
I read the book about that a couple years back, and like that story is really fascinating to me. And there's like murder involved in that one. I don't know, where this one goes, but Nick and I started watching was The Tinder Swindler.
Oh,
and I mean, what a jerk! First of all, I mean, but anyway, just that. The ability to just commit so deeply and you will stop at nothing for this,
She gets caught essentially multiple times and betrays people over and over again, and I don't want to, if somebody wants to go after it and watch it or whatever, I don't want to give too much away, but at one point they go on this vacation that costs $60,000, and she's still friends with the person who ended up having to foot the bill because she ran out on it, and just things like that. It was just sort of, and it doesn't explain that. It doesn't explain why these people kept taking up for her.
Well,
and at one point,
go ahead.
She's trying to get this financing, and so she goes to this high-powered lawyer, and he's like, "No, I can't. What do you don't have anything on paper?"
Yeah.
And she convinces this guy to back her, basically saying, yeah, give her carte blanche. She's good for it, basically, is what she wants this guy to do. And so they're going to give her $40 million to put this, to do all this. Yeah. And so then as it like gets down to the wire, things start to fall apart because, you know, but she navigates it amazingly well somehow to get to that point. And every single person that's interviewed about her describes a different person, basically, until things start to kind of fall apart. But, the show, not great. The Julia something,
the actress
that plays the actress that plays her is great.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited to see her kind of go off on her own from Ozark, but because I was gonna say with the Tinder guy, it's made pretty clear, you know, what the girls that he takes advantage of, like what their motivation is. He's a handsome guy and he's rich. And he's, you know, showering them. And he like, specifically finds these women who are vulnerable enough to fall for that. Mm-hmm. And, I went to a wedding this last weekend and for a friend of Nick's. And I got into an argument with one of his friends because the guy was trying to say, like, those girls deserved it. Like, they, you know, and I was like, no, no one deserves that. I don't care if you make bad choices or if you're not the smartest person in the world, you don't deserve that.
Right.
But he does like the same thing. I mean, he starts, I keep seeing all these memes of people saying, like, hey, my enemies are after me. I need all this money. Because that's basically what he tells her. It's like, my enemies. Anyway, it's just, I know, it's awful. And he's, I don't know.
Well, so this girl says she claims to be a Russian, debutante or whatever, whose father has cut her off, but that she's going to get a trust when she turns 25. And so she has the money coming, but he's cut her off and she's all by her lonesome and, you know, Manhattan.
Yeah, so she's playing the, like, doe-eyed sad girl.
Yes.
Okay.
But, but she definitely has many other facets to her.
Ooh.
And when anybody like refuses her, the claws come out, you know, she like
switches
attacks
real quick
them about it.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that one as it's interesting enough, especially at the beginning, to kind of see how it develops and builds. But I think they just made it too long.
Okay.
They just needed to quit adding this like
for
fake
once,
drama.
Usually I'm like, only 10 episodes?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you know, we don't need the real story, I think, should be sufficient. And if it's not, then I don't want to watch something about something that really happened, but then they add all of this fake drama to it.
Yeah.
That's just not my kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Anyway.
Meh. So on that
note, meh.
We will be back sometime. We're not going to make any promises about our schedule.
Now.
I hate to say that we're going to do this again because who knows? But we will try.
We will try.
We'll come back. We'll be back sometime. So have a good weekend.
Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.